Okay, continuing on with the cooling. One fan in. I am going to put two more up here, maybe three. I'm actually going to put them all the way at the back here to see whether or not I can get three up in here. I would actually like to have three. And then I'm going to place fans down here as well. And so that we get a good airflow going top to bottom. If we need to place another fan in here, we'll place it in the front to get across, and probably be down at the bottom down here. And we'll do it to get across the area here. So okay. I really like these Noctua fans. They're coming with a lot of little extras and everything. So it's nice. It's one of the things that, the real cheap stuff or whatnot, you won't have anything extra with it, which helps make it cheaper. But it's also cheaper, in regards to the manufacturing of it and everything. So, all right. These are childproof. I can't get into it. Shouldn't be bottom to top as heat rises. So, I'm going to put fans down here, which are going up. They're drawing air in. And then the top and the back are both going to exhaust. So that is the plan. And so, and then I don't think that I can connect if I'm able to put in 3 fans here. I don't know. I don't think that, I was watching, I forget what his name is. The guy, he reviews a whole bunch of hardware with the really long hair and everything, and he gets super technical. Like I'm a nerd, but he goes to another nerd level. I can't remember his name, but he did a review of this case. There were some things he didn't like about it, but one of the things is that he talked about that they tested putting fans in everywhere, and they tested and they figured out that the optimal was 6 fans, and so that just him saying that sets like that might be the target, and I actually didn't see what configuration that they worked out. He just mentioned it in a review of the case here. So, all right, now I think we're going to continue with exhaust, and we'll see about what all we can get up here. I think that yeah. So the top is radiator, but it also can be just exhaust fans. So there's enough room here for it, obviously, because there's enough room for a radiator to be in there and everything. So I'm going to pull this out now. Now I got to think about, this one's going to use an adapter for the connection. Childproof. I can't get the box open. There we go. So I have a Y adapter here, and it's going to go to the other system fan slot here. I need to screw two of these in without plugging them in yet, and just see whether or not a third's going to fit. I think that's going to feel proper to me. So I just got to decide what side this is going to fit on, and make sure I've got my orientation right. I do. The motherboard came with a really nice, really handy screw screw thing here. Which has come in handy. Alrighty, so this way right here, and we're going to go all the way in the back. All right, first one in, nice and easy. It helps to have a magnetized screwdriver, and that's just makes it so much easier. If you can buy magnetized screwdrivers, but why pay extra for that? With these are electronics. You know, it's an electronic screwdriver. It's designed for working on electronics. It was not magnetized. I have a little magnetizing block that I just stick it in, and I run it through like this for 30 seconds, and it magnetizes it really well. If you lose your magnetism, then you can redo it. So I don't know what it's called, but I found it to be very handy. I've had the thing for probably, I don't know, 30 years or so. Just never lost it. It's always stayed with me in my arsenal of tools. So, all right. So we've got all this room up here, and so this is the first one. I'm making sure that it's back as far as it can go before I screw it in the rest of the way. And I may or may not be able to get two more in here. I don't know. We're going to find out, though. Tighten this one up. Oh, let me make sure that the cable here is looking pretty good first. Yep. Okay. And talked about this here, about the cable potentially. So the CPU power cables, they are up against it here because they go through back here. And it's sitting on the outer rim here, which is good. So it's not going to get up into the fans at all. So it should be good. Tighten this just enough to so it's not going to move anywhere, but not enough to smash the little rubber grommets that help it give it anti-vibration. They got to have just a little bit of play in them. All right, that one's in nice and tight. Grab another one here. Everyone in my case isn't brown like this too. Just, I don't know, aesthetically it might look nice. But like I've said before, I'm not interested in what the computer looks like nearly as much as I'm interested in its functionality. So functionality is king to me. That is, to me, the only thing that really matters is the functionality. So yeah, 3 are not going to fit. I can already tell. It's only going to fit 2. So that's fine. We'll keep it right above the motherboard. And so yeah, that's only fitting 2. Nine is the perfect amount to get the fans, 1 in each available slot. This actually can fit more than 9. So if we used 120s, you can do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. 13 fans. I don't think, somehow I feel like that would be overkill. Somehow I know that would be overkill. So going across the bottom, maybe I'm only going to get 2 across the bottom too. I don't know. We'll find out. My cat here, he'd help me with everything if he could. He's definitely my cat. He he just always has to be in the room with me. So there we go. That's what it's going to look like up here. And just got to tighten it down. Supervisor over here. All right. That's good. Now, we'll see if we can get three down here. I don't know the answer to it. The answer is maybe. I'm going to pull three more out here and set them in there. Before I do that, though, I definitely have a cat hair issue. But I've come prepared. All right. Power supply placed vertically on its side. It's in the back here behind the motherboard. So it's already in. Okay, now. Oh yeah, so these we're gonna have to replace the grommets on them, things here, because we're going to be bringing air up into the case from here, and so I'm gonna have to put those in. Get all three of these out. We'll see if 3 of them are going to fit on the bottom. The answer is I think it will, but I'm not 100% sure. So I might have some fans left over. All right. So nope, I think it's not going to fit. Nope, not going to fit. Okay. Not of the 140 millimeter. Putting this one back in the box. We're probably going to use this fan anyway, but it's just not going to be on the bottom. So I've got the 2 up here and 1 back here. These are all exhaust, and these are 140s. And then we're going to place 2 more down here and for intake, and then we're going to place another intake here. And then if we need positive pressure, then we'll place a second intake here. If we need negative pressure, then I'll put an exhaust back here. I think that'll be my plan. So the pressure might just all be just about right. I actually don't know if the motherboard BIOS is smart enough to know which fans are pushing and which ones are pulling. So it might be something that I put into, it might be a BIOS setting that I'm able to tell it, or I don't know. I just don't know if it's that smart. I think that it might not be that smart, and it might just, because in that way it could regulate whether or not there's positive or negative pressure. It can regulate it on its own by, increasing the speed of the exhaust fans over the speed of the intake fans, or vice versa. I don't think it's that smart though. That's why there's arrows on the fans. No, Faroloki, it's not about it reversing the fan stuff. I just don't know whether or not the BIOS can know whether or not it's a push or a pull fan. And but it just makes sense to me, because obviously you set them up with the arrows in the proper directions. So yeah. Okay, so these need to be in the proper orientation. This is the intake, this is the out. So since we are going to be intaking, we need to put the rubber grommets on these. So I'm taking these off. You set profiles in the fans? Yeah, well, we may be able to set where, what their location is. It might be smart enough that it just figures it out too, based on what they're connected to, like these. Why would the fans down below be, removing air? They should be pushing air in, but who knows? So these are the little rubber things here, and see, it doesn't have anything extra on it. And then this one does. You see it has that little grommet, as they're calling it. And so that's what I'm putting these on. And it feels not quite right. Doing it with one hand though, Fan headers on the board are usually numbered. Yes, they are numbered. And that's how I can tell it whether they're push or pull. There we go. All right. I just had, there's a little lip here that wasn't getting over. You have to apply a little bit of pressure to get it to seat right. Beans with their rubber, they don't actually like snap in. You don't feel them like snap in. It's just like when there's no more play or no more bubbles in them. Right. So this one is ready. Now we got to do this one too. These fans should last me the lifespan of the computer. With cheaper fans, I've ended up replacing them before. Like my current computer, it's still, you know, if I didn't damage it with the water cooling sprung a leak, and it you know, got some of the coolant on a few things, and it damaged the CPU. It burned it because it wasn't enough cooling, and it was like right on the edge. It wasn't like a complete shutdown right away. It eventually started shutting down, but it did a little bit of damage to my CPU as well. And if it wasn't for that failure, then I might have been waiting to build this computer until next year, because the current machine, it actually works really good. So, I mean, when it's working, you've been watching the shows know that I've been suffering with some blue screens and stuff. So, yeah, these fans are expensive, but I'm not going to have to worry about it. And if time is money too, see, I use my computers. I mean, shit, yeah, I play video games on them, but I use them as tools. You know, it's my tool for my video game. I want to play the game, not play computer repair. And it's not like the old days. Do you remember, those of you who've been around long enough, do you remember when when you had DOS and you were trying to play a game, you know, let's say like Doom, or actually like more like Wolfenstein 3D, stuff like that, or Hexen, and you had to do a lot of massage to the machine to get enough performance out of it to be able to play it right, and all the way down to you would have special boot discs that would boot DOS, and it would give it commands for what to load, what not to load. You were going to run an absolute minimal configuration, only the stuff you needed in order to get the game working. And so back then, you know, we were really pushing how much we could do with our computers. And oh yeah, and you had to load the sound card drivers. You might needed a CD-ROM driver, a joystick driver. Yeah, and you had to factor all these things in, and you had to fit it all the way in. What was the base memory for DOS boot? 640K that you had to get all of this stuff loaded into, which sounds nuts these days. It's not even a megabyte. And so, you know, back then we were really pushing our computers to get the maximum performance out of them, because if you didn't do that, you couldn't run the game. You just didn't have enough memory available to run the game and everything. And but anyway, these days we don't do that. That's not a thing these days. And so, you know, a game just won't run it well. Maybe you're going to do a few things, a special boot or whatnot, but I haven't even, like my computer that I built 7 years ago, actually has more than enough to run all the games. And so, you know, can I run them at 4K and 120 FPS? No, but I can run most everything at 1080p and at least 30. So it's not like the old days. And we get a lot more life out of our computers these days. So yeah. It's not, it's got a little bit of a bubble in it. All right, both of those are sitting good. And just a second here. I know I'm off camera. So now I got to figure out how I'm going to do this for performance-wise. That's another thing. So if I use the Y cable on these, think about this. If the motherboard is going to, if I use the Y cable and the motherboard is going to control the fans, it means it's controlling two of them at once. And so I gotta think about that, because I only have so many fan connectors here. Before I get into the fan connectors, which have a little bit of a question mark because they're also for pumps, and there's actually quite a few of them. There's like another 4 or 6 of them, and so, you know, and I put these other 2 fans in, and then I have more of a pull. I got to put another one up here that's going to be airflow in. Dragons. And so, Red Texan just followed. Where do I fit in this other fan that's going to be push or pull?
You, sir, rock.
Battle Red Texan just subscribed for 13 months.
Battle Red Texan, thank you for the sub. Looks like you got unfollowed somehow. Interesting. This Y cable, it has 4 pins to one and 3 pins to the other. Let me see if the other one is the same or if there's a pin missing. No, they're all this way. Interesting. So maybe that tells the BIOS that one is a secondary fan. Interesting. I wonder how that's going to play out. Yeah, I kind of don't like that it's that way. Thinking about it, I kind of don't like that it's this way because if I'm able to use the BIOS was unclear about whether or not I was able to use the pump fan connectors as just regular fans. I'm thinking that it's probably true that I'm able to, but it doesn't say that specifically. And so if that's the case, then each one of these fans could have their own power connector. All right, King Fatso. Thank you for the raid. We are actually today not playing Eve at the moment. I'll let the music play. All right, so what we're doing is we're building a Eve machine. Yeah, so this is going to be my my new machine for all games, but I'm calling it an Eve machine because that's the primary thing that's going to be played on it. Running like 8 clients at once, maybe more. Who knows? So. All right, we're just installing fans and figuring that out. So, I guess that these can go on a single Y connector in here, and they're going to be down here like this. I'm going to need to turn this on its side to be able to screw these in. Oh, I just caught it on something pulling it out of there. I guess it's okay. I'm going to turn this on its side to be able to screw these in. And these cables are not going to get in the way. All right, so on the bottom here, I've got another filter, and I'm gonna, for the time being, put it over here. I'm not gonna put it where a cat can sit on it and mess with it. And then these are go in down here. Righty. So get in the way a little bit. Okay, no light. All right, gotta undo my little bags of screws. Like the fan tray is removable. Well, the filter is removable. The fan tray, you'd have to really be taking the case apart. I don't think that's something I want to do. Alrighty. So I'm going to do up just the same as I did up at the top. Kind of the same spacing and configuration, and then that way we've got I think that'll be best. This is pretty easy. Not taxing my brain too much. One of the reasons I chose a big case like this is that I'm a big fan of having a lot of space in the case to do whatever. I mean, I don't know that. I mean, I'm going to have 2 video cards in here, and they're going to be definitely an issue. And I just thought about that. Is that this is going to be blowing directly on whichever the lower video card is, and the airflow. I don't know how the airflow is going to work out on that. But the thing is that with this whole setup, if I get everything in here and all together, and I decide that it's not looking okay to me, I will change it. So I built it myself, and if I need to make changes, I can do that. So it won't be a big deal. Everything goes wrong, my fault. That's fine. Being my fault, I'm used to that on a few things. All right, so I wonder where I'm going to want these cables to go here. I'm going to have a Y connector that's connected like here. And so there's a gap under here, which I actually don't know what that is under there. It just looks like it's an air pocket under there. So if I hook it all up with both the cables coming out kind of here, this is going to hook up right here, then maybe I can stuff them all down in here without a problem. Keep them out of the way. Do that though. Will that? No, see, that's going to get in the way. how this is mounted. So do it like this, and then it's outside of there. Guess that's the way it's going to be. It's kind of long, but I can, stuff them down in here. So I think that's what I'll end up doing. Going to be at least one more fan that I put into the case here, but I'm not going to do it at this moment. What I'm going to do is I'm going to play with what we've got here and then see whether or not it does any automatic push-pull or whatnot, and see what the BIOS options are before I decide putting in another fan. Because it might not be necessary. This might be plenty. All right, I think I got to screw in a little bit wrong. Go. One of them got crooked a little bit, causing the last one to not want to go in. At least not straight. And I want them straight if all possible. Right. And then, so we've got system fan 3. That are there. And then I don't know how it tells which is which. I'm not sure it matters. Then let's stuff all this down in here. I think it'll be fine down in there. If not, we'll find out. So but there. That cinches away pretty nicely. So there we have it. These fans, yeah, it cinches away pretty nicely. So these are intakes, and then exhaust, exhaust, exhaust. I haven't plugged these ones in yet, and they'll use another Y connector. And then I'm probably going to have at least one more intake right down here in the front that will blow kind of towards the GPUs and such. So we'll see how that goes. I think that is going to work pretty well. So, all right, if you're watching on YouTube, see you in the next episode.